Hello YouTube. Oh, God's sake. It is New Year's Eve, but as I'm a parent, that does not mean going out partying, that means doing what I do every night. But yeah, I can't believe it's nearly 2016. This year has just been absolutely crazy for us. So what are we doing today? First, we're just putting the Christmas decorations away because we've had ours up since the second week of November, and it's starting to annoy me. So I've slowly put them away. I just got to get the loft ladder out and get up the loft. I just put Charlie down for a nap, and Lil just had a bath with her Cosmic Panda bath melt pills thing. Oh, she absolutely loves them. And for 30p they're a bargain, so I'll be buying some more of those. Definitely recommend. And oh yeah, one of my lovely pieces of jewellery came today. I'll show you here. From Layla. I think it's Layla. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I also got my bracelet, which I can show you in a minute. I'll just look at it. Okay. Lovely colour. This is the bracelet. It's very pretty. I need to put the rest of my bracelets on. I've got one from Rise Ripple Jewellery that needs to go on. And these are my earrings, which I was going to put in. And then Lilith lost one of the backing because she wanted to wear them. But I found it again. Luckily didn't hoover it up. So today, I'm going to pop them in. I haven't worn earrings in my ears since God knows, since I got married. So that's maybe like 7 years ago. I have like 3 holes in both ears, but I never wear earrings. Okay, here's one. They're little feathers, aren't they really cute? My ears are not looking forward to wearing earrings again. I don't know why. It's probably because I haven't worn them for such long. So today, because it's New Year's Eve, I'm just going to do a roundup of the year. I don't think I can get this one free. I think it might have sealed up. So I will have to have a fiddle with that later. Yeah, so I'm doing a roundup of New Year's Eve. This year has been a bit crazy for us. I've already asked Matt permission to talk about this. So Matt ended up with depression in March. He just wasn't acting his way, and the one thing that really set it off was when he told me he hated his job. And Matt loves his job, absolutely loves it. He's got like the best job. He's just so easy. And so I knew there was something up, so I sent him to the doctors, and he got put on antidepressants and signed off for, in the end, 6 months. So he was off a really long time this year. But we're pretty sure it's postnatal depression from when we had Lilith, because it was a traumatic birth. Well, that's just the instructions. Because Lilith had a traumatic birth. She was a forceps baby, induced. Everything that went wrong went wrong. I had a failed epidural twice. Was it 3 times? She got stuck in the birth canal. I have never felt as much pain as when she was stuck in the birth canal, and they were wheeling me from the ward to the theatre because they thought they might have to do a C-section, and she was just stuck there, and I was just screaming in agony. Literally, I wanted to die right there and then. I've never felt pain like that, and I've had Charlie since. Charlie's birth was fine. Compared to Lilith, it's a breeze in the park. So yeah, he ended up basically with postnatal depression. Lilith had colic, and so now he's on the pills. He seems a lot better. He's loads better. Everything's back to normal when about before we had Lilith. The other thing that happened this year was Charlie and his fitting. So I have his little book here. So I took Charlie, as you do. So Charlie was born. He had a really good score, APAP score. I think it was 10 when he was born. The doctor scraped his head when they were trying to break my waters, which were already broken. So that peed me off. But we only spotted it like a week after I had him because, you know, of all the blood and stuff. So he had scraped on his head, and that made his blood pressure drop, and then they used a Ventouse to get him out, even though I think he would have come alright on his fine if they hadn't have scratched his head. So anyway, he came out, he was fine, he was all healthy, a little bit jaundice. He had a different blood type to me. Yeah, he is A positive and I'm O negative, so they had to do some blood tests. And also because I was on antidepressants, I've been on antidepressants since I've had Lilith, due to my postnatal depression and my anxiety. But I've had anxiety for 20 years. Yeah, I have social anxiety. Yep, so he was born, he was 39 plus 6. What did he weigh? Because at one point they told me he was 6 pounds. The highest one, just below the 7 pound one. And then, after they weighed him, they said he was 7 pounds, so. Not very confusing. So yeah, he was all fine. Nothing to be concerned about with Charlie. He was formula fed baby. I didn't breastfeed because I thought you couldn't with taking antidepressants, which I found out later that you could. Yeah. Kim was just saying the other day my lip looks really swollen in these videos. Not quite sure why. It's only happened since I lost a bit of my tooth the other day. A really big gap. So yeah, all fine. I'm just looking for his real paper. So then he was jaundice, but I managed to help him get rid of that. I upped his feed every 2 hours. He was never a big eater, so forcing milk into Charlie was hard. We've always had problems with his weight. He's always gone up, down, up, down, up, down. Freaking me out, and then the health visitors freak you out. Even though he's just a small child. Yeah, this is his weight. So he goes up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. I just haven't been to see the health visitor since. So yeah, we went to have his vaccinations. We were late. We had them done at 3 months. So we had the DTaP, hip, the tetanus, diphtheria, whooping cough, that kind of stuff. The rotavirus. Rotavirus, he vomited. I've never seen my child look so ill before, and he threw up everywhere. He was so poorly, but I kind of expected that to happen. They didn't have that when they was little, so we decided to go for it. Anyway, after he had a massive high temperature, and it was like 2-3 days after the vaccinations had taken place, he started shaking. And at first I thought, I don't know what this is, but he kept doing it, and then he basically was fitting. He fitted a couple of times a day, on and off for a month. When he turned 4 months, he just stopped. I think once the vaccine had got out of his system, he was fine. We had EEGs, MRIs, brain ultrasounds to check it wasn't epilepsy. And then the doctors tried to tell me that it was just because he had a cold or vaccine reaction. He had a cold and that's why he was having these febrile fits. I was googling it, I was thinking epilepsy, brain seizure, freaking the hell out of me. The doctor advised us not to go up to the hospital. He said if they're longer than, I think it was 3 minutes, then we have to call an ambulance and we have to get him up there. So I kept a record of them all. Basically when he was fitting, he just wasn't there. He was so blank. The only thing you could do was like hold his hand. You can't pick him up because he's fitting, and you can't give him milk afterwards or a dummy because he could choke. And then he would stop, and then he would come out of them again, and he'd just cry and then fall asleep. It was awful. He basically wasn't Charlie. He was just this being, not doing much. So we had all these scans and stuff, and everything came back clear. The woman who did his ultrasound of his brain said it sounded like a vaccine reaction. I had no idea you could react to vaccines. I've always been in the knowledge that you vaccine your children, you vaccinate them. I thought, well, he's a good poorly, there's no point in not vaccinating. Like, I'm not against vaccinations. Like, Lilith is totally up to date. I'm up to date. That's up to date. But with Charlie, after really long decision, we decided we're not vaccinating him anymore. We're going to review it when he catches up with his development, but at the moment, no way. I can't risk us vaccinating him again and he having a severe reaction again and him just losing all this development that he's learned already. It's one of the hardest decisions me and Matt have had to make. So we saw a consultant at the hospital. He says not epilepsy and that it probably is vaccine reaction. Of course, they'll never admit it. So yeah, we stopped his vaccinations after the third lot. I just can't take the risk anymore. So since then, he's been very slow of development. He was ahead before he had the vaccines. He was already rolling over, which is earlier. He rolled over at 2.5 months. Lily didn't roll over till she was like 4 or 5 months. And then all of a sudden he was just like a lifeless baby. Like, he wouldn't do anything, he wouldn't play, just lie there. And it was awful. And this was like for 6 months. He didn't sit until he was 14 months old. He started crawling when he was 15 months old. He's pulling himself up now, he's 18 months. He wants to walk, but he hasn't got the balance. We were then referred to a physiotherapist, which I had to fight for because they've lost him again out of the system, so I'm going to have to redo that again. And then when we saw the physiotherapist, Matt went for the first appointment because I have massive anxiety over hospitals now due to my kid's birth. I can't go any near my local hospital. So Matt took him to physiotherapy and then I did it. And she says he's hypotonic down his left hand side, so it's basically like having a stroke down his left hand side. Well, that's just Kim. So his feet, they bend like this or they bend like that. He's got the most flexible feet you can think of, and he can touch his head. He learned how to move stuff with his feet when he was little. But at the moment we're just doing physio, and they've lost us again, so I'm going to have to redo it. Health is just useless. They always are. So yeah, we think he's around about an 11-month-old. They want me to get him reweighed, which I don't know if I am. Our saving grace, I think, was the paediatric shake. We put Charlie on it 3 months ago, and while he's been on it, because he doesn't eat, we weaned him. He was baby-led weaned at like 6 months, 5 months. So he can feed himself, but because his hands on this side are hypotonic, he can't pick up stuff properly, so he just drops it. So we put him on the shades, means that he got all the vitamins and stuff he needs, and he's made massive improvements, and now we're re-weaning him, and he's doing really well on his food. He also gets very tired from doing very mild activities, like crawling and stuff. He gets exhausted, so he might have 2 or 3 naps in the day. He's just started playing with toys, which is really nice to watch. And yeah, he's a really happy baby. He's always smiling, but we don't know what the future is mentally or physically. So at the moment we're just kind of one step at a time. So that's the story of Charlie and his disability, I guess you would say. He's hypotonic. We know it's not related to anything else, because I know that hypotonic is a symptom of a bigger problem. So if your child is hypotonic, you should really get referred to a consultant to make sure that it's not like a genetic disease. And with Charlie, it's basically vaccine reaction. Nothing else. It's what the vaccine caused by the fitting and stuff. And that's why we don't know about his mentally, because he fitted so much. He says a few words, but Lilith didn't speak until she was 2, and now she's a really good speaker. So with Charlie, I'm leaving it until he's 2.5 before I think about speech therapy. And now I've got to go and chase everyone. Oh, I think that's Kim. Bye.